The Council's mistake. The Earth was no longer blue. From orbit, the planet gleamed with a lattice of orbital platforms, defense satellites, and Dyson halo panels. It shimmered like a living machine, wrapped in artificial rings, its skies streaked with fusion trails from the comings and goings of countless ships. After centuries of war and environmental collapse, humanity had united, not by choice but by necessity. The Soul Accord had forged peace from the ashes, and peace had bred progress. In just 3 generations, Earth transitioned from fractured nations to a singular entity, the Terran Unified Command. No longer squabbling over borders or ideologies, humanity turned its gaze upward. The moon was colonized first, then Mars, then the Belt. Soon, a dozen colonies glittered in nearby star systems. That's when the galaxy noticed. The transmission came in the middle of a solar storm. The Council hadn't bothered with subtlety. One moment, deep space listening stations hummed with routine data traffic. The next, a golden, pulsating sphere of energy appeared above Europa's icy crust. The message was simple. This is the Galactic Council. Humanity's expansion violates regulated star fronts and threatens interspecies equilibrium. Cease further colonization. Disband your military fleets. Submit to Council jurisdiction. You have 6 cycles to comply. It wasn't a negotiation. It was an ultimatum. In Geneva, the seat of the Soul Accord, 12 delegates met in silence. Admiral Vera Kane stood at the head of the table, her uniform severe, her eyes colder than space. She had been born on Ceres during the food riots and raised in a mining shaft under constant attack from rogue AI. She had no patience for arrogance, especially from aliens who had never set foot on Earth but thought themselves above it. They think we're savages, she said, folding her arms. That we're too volatile, too young, too human. High Chancellor Elias Ward stroked his gray beard, frowning at the holographic representation of the Council. And perhaps they're right. But we fought too hard to be slaves in someone else's galaxy. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would not kneel. The Council's response was immediate. Within days, a fleet of warships decloaked near Mars and glassed the VIS New Athens colony. 5 million civilians died in under 10 minutes. Emergency drones caught the massacre in 16K detail. The footage went viral across every Terran screen, from the arcology slums to the orbital cities of Saturn. One phrase repeated endlessly across human networks. They drew first blood. Protocol Orion was initiated. Every warship, stealth cruiser, cyber warfare AI, and sleeper cell was activated. Shipyards went into overdrive. Reservists were recalled. Scientists decrypted Council encryption codes. Diplomats were pulled from alien embassies and replaced with automated scorched earth directives. On Titan, Helios, humanity's first fully sentient military AI was reawakened. It had been shut down after the Andromeda incursion for being too aggressive. Now, it was exactly what humanity needed. 3 weeks later, the Council's Vanguard fleet prepared to strike Earth itself. But Earth struck first. Terran ships arrived in Council space without warning. Using experimental quantum folding drives, they bypassed expected routes and emerged above Council-linked planets in multiple sectors simultaneously. It was a display of coordination that left Council strategists reeling. The first target, Thalkar Prime, a major logistics hub for the Arvaxian species. The Arvaxians had petitioned for humanity's extermination just 2 cycles earlier. Human destroyers didn't open hails. They didn't demand surrender. They dropped a kinetic spear, a 6-ton tungsten rod accelerated to 1% light speed, into Thalkar's central dome. The planet cracked open like an egg. News of the massacre raced across the stars. The Council issued panic directives, but it was too late. More Terran fleets emerged from the dark, not in open space, but inside orbit, deep behind defensive lines. They weren't fighting by rules the Council understood. In 1 week, 5 Council member worlds were annihilated. Not conquered, not occupied, erased. Ambassador Vorathul, a telepathic elder from the Varine species, addressed a private emergency session of the Council. This species, they do not think like us. They do not accept hierarchy. They are chaos refined into steel. They offer no peace. They do not bluff. And worst of all, he paused, trembling. They enjoy it. Captured alien commanders were broadcast across Terran networks, kneeling, pleading, weeping. The AI network HellNet distributed the footage galaxy-wide under the title, Justice from Mars. No filters, no mercy. Humanity wasn't trying to win. It was trying to send a message. The Council scrambled to create a joint force. Over 200 alien species pooled ships into a mega-fleet, the Sanctum Armada. Massive, legendary, unbeaten in centuries. The Terran response, an assault on their command nexus during the very planning summit. Helios infiltrated the Council's own defense matrix, rerouted orbital defense systems to attack friendly ships, and detonated antimatter payloads in high orbit. The Central Command Spire, once the proud tower of galactic unity, fell in a blaze of collapsing atmospheres. The Sanctum Armada never launched. Back on Earth, Admiral Kane stood before the United Accord in silence as the final images of the burning spire faded. No more warnings, she said. No more diplomacy. The time for restraint is over. The chamber erupted in applause. The war had just begun, but to the Galactic Council, it was already over. We erased them all. The stars were silent now, except where human warships roared. Galactic history would remember the Terran retaliation not as a war, but as a reckoning. A species once dismissed as primitive had torn through thousands of years of interstellar order like a plasma blade through silk. Humanity was no longer playing the game. Humanity was flipping the board. 1. The campaign begins. The Terran fleets split into triads, strike groups named after ancient myths, Cerberus, Leviathan, Fenrir. Their goal wasn't conquest. It was purge. Each strike group had a single directive. If they stood with the Council, they stand no more. First came the Varine, telepaths whose minds once bent others to their will. They collapsed in hours as Terran neuroviruses scrambled their psionic networks. Their cities, carved from crystal and light, shattered under kinetic strikes. Survivors begged for mercy. They received silence. On the edge of Council space, the Thal Imperium mounted a desperate defense. Known for their high fleets and biological warforms, the Thal deployed swarms across 3 systems. Terran countermeasures were merciless. A fleet led by the TUC Harbinger of Ash launched Prometheus nanostrikes, machines that consumed organic matter and replicated themselves in minutes. The swarm-eaten Thal moons flickered out like dying candles. Thal transmissions stopped at once. Helios logged the operation as infestation removed. 2. Council collapse. One by one, the Galactic Council species fell. Some tried to negotiate. Others hid. A few tried to resist with forbidden weapons, dimensional warpers, antimatter bombs, time dilation fields. Nothing worked. Humanity wasn't just fighting with weapons. It fought with every innovation it had ever learned, stolen, or built in defiance of alien empires. Wormhole sabotage, subconscious propaganda pulses, AI infiltration of enemy NAV chains, temporal echo missiles that struck before you fired. Wherever humanity touched, empires died. Council meetings devolved into panic. Species accused each other of cowardice, betrayal, incompetence. Long-standing alliances crumbled under pressure. The galaxy had known wars before, but never like this. Humanity didn't leave statues. It didn't claim thrones. It didn't lecture about justice or order. It simply made sure there would be no one left to challenge it again. 3. Galaxis Prime. The final target was Galaxis Prime, the Council's jewel, a planet-sized station orbiting a trinary star system, surrounded by 15 defense rings, 60 planetary cannons, and 3,000 capital-class ships. It was the last sanctuary of a dying regime. Terra High Command sent everything. The Black Sun Armada, led by Admiral Kane and AI Helios, entered the system through a rift opened by stolen Council tech. Behind them came humanity's vengeance. Super dreadnoughts, drone hives, stealth bombers, and orbital kinetic lances. The Council activated every defense. Fleets charged. Artillery opened fire. Helios whispered to every Terran captain, "No mercy. No survivors. Burn it clean." The battle lasted 12 hours. 1 hour to disable orbital defenses. 4 hours to annihilate all Council warships. 6 hours to crush planetary shielding. 1 final hour of kinetic rain to erase the capital from existence. Galaxis Prime fell into its sun, dragged by Terran gravity disruptors. Billions of voices vanished in solar flame. Council leadership? Gone. The Galactic Order? Erased. The stars? Free. For the broadcast. Across the galaxy, every species received the same message. No encryption. No filter. Just truth. A recording of Admiral Kane, standing aboard the Harbinger of Ash, with the burning wreck of Galaxis Prime behind her. She spoke in every known language. "You forced our hand. You declared war. You slaughtered our civilians and called it justice. You saw our progress and called it a threat. You feared our unity. You tried to break us. You failed. Let this be the last war. We want a peace. You chose extinction. We will not ask again." Then the screen cut to black. 5. Aftermath. Humanity didn't establish a new council. It didn't rule. It didn't build statues or empires. It simply watched. From Sol to the edges of the Orion Arm, Terran patrol fleets now cruised silently. Any system showing signs of council revival vanished within a cycle. And yet, Earth itself grew quieter. The war had united humanity, yes, but it also scarred it. Billions of lives lost. Entire generations raised in conflict. Whole ecosystems sacrificed to fuel the machine of vengeance. Earth's skies were clear, its cities safe, but no one cheered. Because victory had come too easily, and vengeance had tasted too good. In orbit over Earth, a single monument floated, a black obelisk etched with the names of every fallen Terran colony, every city lost, every child killed by the Council's first strike. At its base were 5 words. "We offered peace." They declined. No flags, no songs, just the quiet hum of the stars. Humanity had survived. The galaxy never would.